Alright, how you doing? So in this video I'm going to be painting an impressionistic or painterly style like this here of this scene right here. It's something that popped up on my Windows save thing and I was like, I want to paint that, so I saved it and yeah, let's go ahead and paint it. It's not going to look really like that. We're using it as a inspiration. I think it's really the colors and stuff that come through nicely. But we're painting an impression of that, so you're not like trying to go for like realism or anything like that. So it's more of a Bob Ross style that we're going for here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do this kind of the blue. I kind of want the colors to be similar. So let me see a desaturated blue using the sky brush here. So for those that don't know, I am Neil from masterpaintingnow.com. I'm one of the main painter or one of the main art instructors on Udemy with over 60,000 happy students. So the sky is kind of this lighter colors go toward here. It's not quite that, it's more just trying to see if that's the, I think that's the color. Something like that. We'll go with that for now. I think that'll work as the base color. And I actually have a new course on my website, masterpaintingnow.com. That is how to paint like Bob Ross using this very software, what I'm doing right now, and my free brushes. By the way, these are free brushes. You can get them right now on my website. Go to masterpaintingnow.com. That's masterpaintingnow.com. The link's in the description of this video as well. Go to join the newsletter, and then you'll see the link to download the brushes. And if you want, join the newsletter to get up to date on different stuff that I'm going to be doing here and there when I come out with new courses, or if I come out with a new brush set. I hardly ever email, so don't worry, I'm not like one of those people that like try to email you stuff. I don't. If anything, you'll be like, how come you never emails? I'm using a slightly lighter color now and just kind of overlapping a little bit, just to kind of get some different colors here. And I also want this color more down here, because this is going to be like what's going to be where the water's at. I'm dividing this almost in half, similar to the picture. So about like that. I think those colors look nice. They go good together. Next, I want to add some of this kind of like reddish tone. So let's go to, kind of looks like orangish red. We're going to kind of get this tone in here. Something like that, and kind of, I just want a little bit of it here. Not too much. Just a little bit. Very, very light touches here. And it kind of swoops all along the bottom right there like that. And see how those colors overlap and they make some nice colors in between. So that's good. Then we got to start adding the actual clouds. And so clouds is, this is where you're not going to try to replicate the shape of the clouds you see. We're going to do good old Bob Ross type clouds. And I'm going to go with a little more toward yellow and obviously a lot more toward white for our clouds. And I think I'm going to go with a larger size. I like to start with the largest size possible first, and we just want to add some basic shapes here like that, and we'll kind of pull those up to add that kind of shape the image has a little bit. So starting with these big clouds here. This is at the top, more of the top. There's this nice bright spot right in here, so that's where we're going to add our bright clouds. And then they're going to kind of swoop up here. I just add a little bit of texture so I have something to swoop up there. And then the clouds get drastically smaller as they come down here. And we'll just add a few when we get down here into the mountain range here. Actually, the mountain range, I'm going way too far down now that I see. So yeah, it's actually going to be more like right in here. Actually way up here. I think I went way too far down. This will be where some little clouds are. That's fine. We'll go back over that in a second. So I'm going to take my awesome blender brush. I'm going to just blend out a lot of this right here because, and then what I want to do is kind of pull in that direction that I want these shapes to kind of fit into. Like that. Just kind of pull. And this kind of makes it look like the clouds are being pulled by the wind, and it kind of gives you a similar look to what's in that painting, except in this case it's, you know, not painting, the photo, impressionistic. And it's really important, you know, when you're painting, even if you're painting more for realism, you're trying to go for a more realistic look, you're not trying to paint exactly what you see. And I think that's a mistake I see so often is people try to paint exactly what they see. You want to have some of your artistic flair in there, be that because it's the colors you choose, something that represents you as an artist. But there should be something that when people see it, they can go, hey, that's so-and-so's painting. It has that certain, it's kind of look through it. Or, maybe it's a certain look, like, oh yeah, that kind of has that one look to it. I like that. So that's kind of a good base right there. And then I want to add just a few other little clouds in here. I'm going to take my cloud blender and kind of blend out some of this purple kind of into my clouds here on the edges, and then take some of this lighter color and kind of blend it out, make some clouds with it. So this allows me to add some cloud texture where I've lost it back in without disrupting the shapes I already have there. You just, when I pull this from one color to the other, it kind of pulls that color into it. So you want to just kind of pull that, take this like darker color here and just kind of pull it along the edges like that. And see that it kind of adds that nice. I can take this lighter color and pull it into the darker color. I can take this color, see that, and pull it up into this lighter color. So this color here, pull it up in that color. And I can also pull the light color down like that. See, I can just pull these colors around. A lot of that down there is not going to matter. That's going to be all blocked and covered anyway. So I want to have like an imaginary line that's like almost halfway. That's more like right about here. And that's like kind of where my mountains are going to be. So I just want to kind of lay down just a quick idea about where my mountains are going to be. So it's somewhere like right, like this is like the imaginary line, but I'm going to make it an actual line. And then my mountains are going to kind of fit in there as well. They're going to kind of come like that, and then up like this. And then this is going to be like the foreground mountain, kind of like that. And then there'll be a couple background mountains, and they're going to just be kind of like this. And actually, it kind of continues on, but I think I'm going to break it there, because this is where you get to decide, how you want the mountains to be. Something like that there. So I have a kind of basic idea. Go back to my cloud brush here, and I'm going to go to this one. Much brighter, but I want to add some of that really nice orange. They have this really nice orange. I don't want to add that down there first. I just want to kind of get this down in there, kind of blend it up. I'm just actually using the cloud brush as a paintbrush and just kind of blending it in. A lot of that's going to be covered by this other foreground mountain, but I want to add some of that nice bright color like that. There we go. And then we're going to go back to our nice bright white now. Almost white. It's going toward white. I just want to add just a few little shapes in here, just kind of represent some cloud shapes. Again, we're doing more impressionistic style, so it's going to be, we can't go for that great detail where it's all like totally realistic type stuff. That's not the style that we're going for here. So I just want to get the impression that, hey, I'm using my awesome blender brush and kind of blending that out now. And that kind of gives us some shapes that I like. That's cool. And then we're going to go back to this brush now. Again, still sticking with smaller brushes or smaller sizes. I'm reducing the size using the brackets. Or I'm actually using a shortcut on my tablet that is set to those brackets, but same idea. Actually, I'm going to go with that because it's just like kind of saturated color first. I just want to kind of lay down some of that saturated color first. All right here, I'm going to kind of just do that. I'm going to kind of go through and just kind of add some of the saturated color in here like that. Then I'm going to go back to this more desaturated version of this color and just kind of add some cloud shapes in here. They're kind of going upward a little bit like that. In this kind of painting, it does take longer than if you were to do like your typical. I mean, still using Bob Ross type techniques. You're just really taking your time. Remember, Bob Ross was he was limited to like 28 minutes, I think it was, on the TV show. So he had to make sure. So he actually, just to make sure he can paint it that fast, he painted like 3 different versions of it. So he painted 2 versions before doing the live show. Well, it's not really live, but it's one take, one take. So might as well be live. But he would paint two versions of it first off camera to get everything down, know how the painting was going to go, and know that he could fit it into a time slot. And then he would do the final painting. So, but he was, the whole purpose was to try to fit it into that time slot. In this case, we don't have a time slot I'm trying to fit into, so I can just take my time. And he often talked about that. Hey, take your time. Do it. You might want to take your time on this part. Really make the clouds look really nice, or really take your time on this part. The parts where he didn't have the time to take his time. I'm actually curious how many paintings he did that wasn't part of the show. He probably didn't have really much time just to paint. I wonder if he actually, once he got that whole painting career going, doing the show, I wonder if he ever painted just luxury, like just to paint. Like, let's do a painting where I take my time. I'm not on time limit. I can just make a nice painting and really spend my time refining these clouds and everything. I wonder if he did that or not. So one thing we could do is add a little bit of bloom to this, because the camera does have bloom, and that's up to you. That's preference and style if you want to try to add that. I like the way bloom looks, so let's try it really quick. What we can do is set our blend mode here to, we can do color dodge, we can do add, soft light. Let's try color dodge. It might be too much. Just barely touch it, and this adds a little bit of bloom. See that? Now we got some bloom in the clouds. They're cool. Go back to normal. That's a personal preference thing. Decide how much you want. Actually, I want to add a little bit more down there too. Hold on. Oops. Blend mode. Go back. I think I'm gonna go to add this time. I just want to add a little bit down there. And the sky, yeah, we're gonna cover that with mountains, so it'll look cool. All right. So the next thing is we got to start adding in our mountains here. Obviously, we want to work from back to forward. So let's add some of our background mountains first. And so the ones that are going to be more distant in the background I have more of this like sky color. And I'm actually wondering though if I should add a little more sky. I think I'm going to, because I kind of added that too low. So I'm going to go back to my cloud brush here. Take this kind of color and just kind of add some more right along the background here, where behind those mountains. I'm going to just kind of pull it in this kind of direction. So if you want to use this brush this way, you can. And just kind of pull it in the direction you want, and then you can take the awesome blender brush, and this is what's great. You can really just change a lot of the textures and shapes and stuff. You just want to pull some of that out. If you feel like you're going too much to the edge there, you can just kind of reduce this in size, or you can just move it over. Just use this tool and just move it around so you can have it the same size. Oops. Just move it over so you're not feel like you're working against that edge there. Something like that. I left a little bit of texture in there. I might go back to the cloud blender brush now and just kind of pull some of this and just add some more texture back in again. Kind of go back and forth and kind of layer these techniques, and it gives you some nice results. That's pretty nice. If you wanted to, you can go back and add maybe one more layer of color here. So maybe just add a little bit of like that, a little bit there, just a little bit here and there. Just kind of add some different flavors. And I think that's good. Click this button here, and it goes back to full screen of the available screen you have there. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to start taking some of this background kind of color, like I said, like this one here, and I might just make it a little bit more purple, a little bit more desaturated. This will be for the really, really background mountains, like maybe these ones here that kind of come like this. Again, I'm just going with the basic shapes here. I'm not trying to recreate what the photograph has. That's really important. So just go with the basic shapes, and you go, okay, that's the shape of the mountain. Use a Bob Ross technique. Use one of the techniques I teach in my Bob Ross course, and just add that in there, the shapes, so the same way. And then you want to take, you could do this on a different layer if you wanted to as well. It doesn't have to be on one layer like I'm working on. In fact, if you have a really nice sky and you're afraid you'll ruin it, then you might want to start a new layer for the mountains so you don't ruin it. Cool, so now I want to take my textured brush here. Same technique like I said, and we're just going to add some, different colors. So take that color and just kind of lighten it a little bit, because that's really all we need for this background mountain. We can just kind of add that shape right there. That's kind of represented in the photograph, and maybe add just a little bit of, snow to some of the top here, maybe some to the edge right there. Just add some shapes in the background. Doesn't have to be a lot. Remember, this is really, really far in the background. And it has more of a blue look to it. I've noticed that. And if you want, you can maybe add, some more bluish tone to this in the background like that. I'm going to add the same thing here. I'm going to add the blue first before I add anything else. Actually, that one's more purple, but I might want to add just a little bit of blue because I like that color with the purple. Looks nice. Like that. And then I might take that same color actually. In this case, it's more on the bottom. But I'm just impressionistic. I'm gonna add a little bit of snow to I'm gonna add a little bit of snow to the top of this one, just because you can make it whatever you want. It doesn't have to be what's in the photo. Like that for those background mountains. I know right now they just kind of look like, shaped smudges, but that's really what it is looking like, like look at some Bob Ross stuff and that's what you get. You get shapes that kind of resemble stuff, and that's what Impressionism is. But when you look at the whole painting together, when it's all done, you're like, oh hey, that all kind of works together, and it looks like, I can tell what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a cool scene, whatever. I'll make it a little bit darker with this one. There we go. And normally you would add, Bob Ross between mountains, between objects would kind of fade out the bottoms before going to the next mountain set. And I'm not doing that right here because I want it more like a sharper. I'll do it in this one, but the ones in the far background, I felt there's no need to do that because there's a nice contrast between them already in the colors. So with this one, I think I just want to add a little bit of texture with kind of like a darker color. And we're just going to kind of texturize it with this, almost like it's just rocks or something, and just texture in the background. That's all it is, You can even take maybe your bush texture brush and just kind of add. In fact, we'll try that real quick. Bush number 4. Make it smaller. Sorry if you can hear the dog in the background. I have pretty good noise canceling microphone, but you might still hear the dog. It's a neighbor's dog. I can't really do anything about it, and he just decides to bark all day. So there's really no time of day where I'm like, hey, this is the perfect time of day to record, because the dog just barks and barks and barks, and it's ridiculous, and they need to fix it. I'm going to add the sky brush. I'm just going to add a little bit of this color here, like that, and that kind of adds that, that fog, that line. And then you can also use the awesome blender brush and kind of blend that together, like so. And that's that line you want. I'm going to kind of blend the bottom of this one just a little bit with the blender brush as well. Then when I add this, mountain over that, it'll look nice. So this mountain here has a lot of cool colors in the photo. It's got a little bit of like kind of blue green, and it's got this kind of like nice kind of purpley color in there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do that bluish green, so more like a cyan blue. Come down, make it extremely dark, and that's going to be my main mountain color for the background of the mountain, like that. Come across here. So you want to push with moderate pressure with this brush, because if you don't, it'll just kind of, it'll kind of just smear color like that. So if I just go like that, it'll kind of smear color. A little bit moderate pressure, I actually add the color down. I think that's about right. See how it kind of looks kind of greenish? It's just because it's desaturated. So even though it's not green, it's actually a cyan next to these other colors, and then when you desaturate it, it kind of looks like more of a green color, which is cool. Cool color things, you just get the hang of that over a while. For example, if I were to take like over here and I took a blue, right? This is clearly blue. If I paint that, look at how blue it is. But if I come down and really desaturate it, it almost looks like purple. See that? And So you can go here. See, it almost has more of a purpley look to it, even though it's not purple. So desaturated colors, can look different. There's a darker version of it. But anyway, get the idea. And I can come up here and even make it even more green, as you can see. Now I might add just a little bit of texture with that green now. Just a little bit with that lighter green. I just want to add some texture to these mountains here. And these are more like hills than they are mountains, or they're so far away they look like hills, one of the two. I think it's more of hills though. I just want to add a little bit of that in there, not much, just a little bit of texture here and there. There we go. I think more toward the bottom here as well. I want to add more of that texture. I'm kind of purposely pulling the color at the bottom to kind of get rid of that hard line there. There we go. And then they have this really nice like violet kind of color. So if we go to red and kind of start going toward this, more saturation this time, but we're going to pull it down so it's darker. That might be a little overpowering, so let's desaturate a little bit. Ooh, actually, you know what? This is such a nice bright color that we can desaturate it quite a bit and still have. By desaturate, you just pull it over this direction. Whether up or down doesn't matter. All that is desaturated. Whether you're adding white or black, you're desaturating the color. I don't want it smooth like that. So I really got to make sure I kind of do this in one stroke, and I want to make sure I have the texture in there. So you can actually go slow with the moderate pressure, and that's going to add that texture. I just want to make sure I'm going to add a darker desaturated version on this side. Darker still. There we go, perfect. And just kind of adding it here and there to add that texture. And this one does have a little bit on the top, not much, but there's some of that color up there. And it's actually a little lighter, so that was too much lighter. And maybe more color. Yeah, there we go, just a little bit like that. Now you can go in there and you can noodle around with like a more detailed brush and add all kind of fine, texture details if you want, but it's really unnecessary because with impressionistic you're just going for the overall, shapes. You're not trying to create a realistic masterpiece or something. Now before I add too much detail here, I think I want to add this background mountain here. It's more of a, I don't know, kind of a bluish color like this. Maybe even lighter. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Notice it almost looks kind of purple itself because it's more in the background there. And I kind of want to, maybe mess with this brush for a second. Just kind of pull some of these colors around a little bit like that. There you go. And it had a, excuse me. Like so. There we go. There's a little bit of texture to it, and then it had this kind of smoothness here, like this kind of color, and it's kind of like this, kind of like that. Just, then I'm gonna go back over. Okay, there we go. I think that's good enough. And some of this, fog kind of works its way up here, and it's more kind of a bluer fog. So I'm gonna kind of just, there we go. We'll add some more of that back in there, but I think that's good for now. I'm just deciding if that's all the texture I want. There's obviously a lot of trees and stuff back there. We can simulate some of that. I don't want too much texture back there though, because like I said, we're not trying to create. And this is a problem you can run into. When you're looking at a photo, sometimes it makes it so easy to get overboard with detail, and you're like trying to recreate what you're seeing. And that's not the point. You're not trying to do that. So remind yourself, I'm not trying to recreate what I'm seeing. I do just want the impression of what I'm seeing. And the easiest way to do that is to just go, alright, here's the shapes I want to kind of recreate, and then recreate those shapes with using Bob Ross techniques. I'm just adding a few hints of trees in the background there because I think it looks, especially right here, this isn't actually even in the thing, in the photo at all, but I like this, and so I'm adding it. I want some like really distant trees back there. I think that looks cool, and it kind of overlaps that sky. Looking sweet. Alright, so then we got to add some more landmass in a kind of a shore here. But before we add this landmass and shore, we got to make the water. So let's make the water nice and neat. We're going to paint over that water. And there's really nothing reflecting in the water, so I'm just going to go for colors here. Just take our sky color. I'm using this kind of cyan color right now. I want to add a little bit of that into the water. Just like that. Alright, that might be a little too much. That's alright though. It's nice under color. It makes it look more tropical. When you add a little bit of that, kind of go toward the green a little bit. And yeah, so I'm just adding some bright spots in here and there. There we go. Now let's take that same color, go more towards the blue, and go straight down here, kind of darker. We're going to add some shadows. Which in this case, I'm just kind of go with what I see in the photo. I'm a more saturated. I want this to be nice. There we go. Nice and cool looking. And it's kind of like that. And then maybe there's another one right here. Just a little bit of shape there. Where the bridge is going to come across, I'm going to have the bridge, it's going to kind of come right here, and it's going to kind of come like this, and go back like that, so I'm going to add just a little bit, maybe a color right there. And then I want to add some of this sky color onto this water here, so all this side of the bridge, this water here is going to have some of the sky tone. I'm just going to make it really big so I can just do one kind of sweeping motion right there. Just remember, all this will be blocked by the foreground mountain, that's why I'm not really doing any detail down here. No reason to paint stuff you know you're going to paint over. You know, that side of the water is so smooth, there really isn't any reason to... I'm just debating on... Okay, cool. I'm just going to take my water brush now. I'm going to take this nice bright color, and I'm literally just going to horizontally just kind of pull some of this light streaks right across and then lightly go over it like that. Just kind of blur them out a little bit. And there you go. And that's going to be that water right there. And then over on this side, I don't want quite so yellow, so maybe more of a bluer white color. And we're just going to kind of add some streaks first. Just kind of add some streaks like that. And then a little more pressure, and kind of get some of the color in there. Like so. I'm actually make the brush a little bit smaller. There we go. Especially like right here where it's, there we go, right there where it's brighter. I want to make sure I really get that there. Then we're going to take our awesome blender brush and just kind of go horizontally back and forth with nice light strokes. Just kind of get rid of some of the detail, some of it's just too hard of lines. And kind of pull some of these colors like that, pull the light color into the dark color and so forth. That adds a nice, look to the water. That's pretty much how I do water. So you could try to add a little more texture here and there to the water if you wanted to, but that's pretty much going to be the water. Like I said, impressionistic. I think that's good. All right, let's go ahead and continue with our landmass and color. I'm going to take this color here, but I want it darker. And take our mountain brush, and now we just got to start kind of shaping the coast here like this. This is going to have other colors here, but for now I'm just going to use a dark color, and I'm going to kind of blend these two colors together. There you go, and kind of use that color now. And then from this side over here, it kind of goes like this, and this is about where the bridge starts at about, this is the halfway mark, yeah, a little over from the halfway mark of the picture. And also you got to think about composition. If you feel like the photographer didn't have good composition, then you might want to, I'm going to kind of blend this out over here. And I always like to kind of use my awesome blender brush over everything. For now, like that, just kind of get different color. We're going to be painting a lot of the colors over this. This is the base color, and I think that looks pretty good now. Cool. And now I'm going to just lightly go with this brush and go over the edges right here. And by kind of pulling the lighter color over the darker color, it's going to automatically add this kind of coastline edge for me without me having to paint really anything, just like that. Now it kind of has that kind of lighter color that's supposed to be there. And then there's another darker layer after that for like the shadows and stuff. And for that I can, I'm just going to take my dirt brush here, come down here, grab my dirt brush. It does have a purpose. And just going to add some darker shapes here and there underneath that, just to kind of show that there's some shadow there. This is all very much in the background, so a bunch of trees and stuff don't even look like trees. They just kind of look more like, colors and shapes. And I think that's pretty good. Might pull this down, just add a little bit of reflection into the water. Like so. And then I might go with my waterline brush now and just take a light color here and just kind of come right here along the waterline. Just going to add a little bit here and there just to kind of show that this is a waterline where water is smashing up against it. And it's really in the distance, so cool, looking nice. It has this really nice yellow land, like almost like it's dirt or something it comes into too, that I might paint. So we're going to do all that with the dirt brush. I'm going to first take this color here, kind of paint it, and I think I'm going to just kind of outline on a new layer. I'm going to outline where I want that road. It's going to kind of come like this, over and in here like that. That's about where the road's going to be. And then obviously it's going to get thicker as it comes this way, like so. And it's thinner here and it goes, small as it goes back this way. So that's the main shape I want, and I'm going to go back underneath it again. Let's build out some of this land that it's setting on top of. It actually comes out more like this. Kind of has a shape like that. And then this is where you get this kind of cool, I don't know, almost like a dirty yellowish color out here. And I like it in the picture, it looks good, something like that. It has some other colors in there, but we're kind of just blend some of the edge here like so. We'll add some of this kind of grayish color on the edge, just to kind of give it a little bit of shoreline. Cool, I think that's pretty much it for that. I'm going to take this really darker kind of green color now. I'm going to just kind of pull this up all along right here. This is like a tree line. So I'm going to add some dark in here. And then to do the tree line and the trees, we could actually just do this one tree brush here. It's like distant trees. It's kind of cheating, but it kind of just gives us some quick texture back here that I want. That's mainly what I use it for. If you feel like it's cheating, you can do it more by hand and paint it with my other far trees brush. And then I'm going to take this kind of color here, this kind of darker color here, because there's some other trees. And this tree line actually has trees like that. It also has some lighter trees, and it has some darker trees like that with the tree line. Some darker trees like this. And I think it has some of this lighter color here. There's a few trees here and there that are that color, and go back over the dark color. And that kind of just lays in some. And then I can just literally just take my same mountain texture brush, and I can just kind of come in here and just texture some of this, different ways, just to kind of make it look like it's distant stuff. I kind of want a little bit of, some of it looks like, actually it's more towards the red, but it's really saturated right here. I don't know if that might be too saturated. Go darker, add some black to it, because it tends to look more saturated when it's black for some reason. Yeah, there's like a little texture right there, and I like that, so I'm just trying to recreate, not necessarily what I'm seeing exactly, but I definitely want to recreate some of the color, like the way the colors work together. Almost like a violet color coming out here like that. There we go, I kind of want to add that in there. Alright, cool, so that's looking nice. And then now we just got to do the bridge, and then we got to do the final, mountain, this angled mountain coming up over. But look at that, it's already looking really nice. You can tell what it looks like. You can tell it looks like a painting. It looks like something that we're looking at. and we're just using simple techniques that add, the simple Bob Ross techniques, which overall I think end up making a really cool looking painting. Debating on how I want to do the road. I think honestly, like, that's pretty much the road. And then maybe I want to take that same color, make it a little bit lighter, and then I kind of want to just come right across like that, and then come diagonally like this. And I just want to add a little bit of texture. I think just that way, it just adds a little bit of difference. Oops, I didn't want to. Oh, come on. There we go. Something like that. I think I like that. Let's go here. I'm gonna make this a little bit thicker. And then we can even maybe use our mountain brush and turn it down in size. Maybe add a line right here. I mean, this is getting closer to the thing, so we could add just a little bit of texture there, a little bit of detail rather, as I meant to say. As it goes further away, you're not going to be able to see that detail, but right here you can, and maybe you can, I might even represent that white line right here, so we can kind of see. Some of this will probably be covered with trees, but we'll put it there anyway. Now we can kind of see that road. There's actually a turnout right here, and I don't know, I might represent that, I might not. I'm debating that right now in my head. I don't know if it's necessary, but it does look nice, so I think I'm going to go ahead and represent that. We'll kind of have this turnout right here. Make it kind of larger like that. Kind of add some of this lighter color in here to add some couple different tones. I always like to have more than one color, to have a little bit of texture and stuff. The same kind of color is like right here, and it kind of has like something like that. It's like a little piece of bushes or something. There's like a pole there or something, but you're not going to be able to see all that. And then over here there's like this kind of like nice rock face and then some trees. Okay, I think that looks nice. And then I'm going to take this same color, but I'm going to make it a little bit darker, a little bit more blue, a little bit darker. And we're going to add the pillars coming underneath it. And for this, I'm going to make another layer underneath this one. So if I mess up, I know that I have a background. Technically this should have went up a little bit higher, but so I'm adding just smaller ones there than what's in the photograph. And these are just little pillars coming down. Just basically you're just drawing little rectangles, right? It's really, really basic stuff. You don't have to draw anything too difficult here. Just rectangle coming straight down like this. I don't know how I grabbed that color again. On accident somehow. Make sure the bottoms are horizontal though, because they're going into water. Whenever something goes into water, it's horizontal. Even though you can't see this in the photograph, I'm going to continue on with that one, and maybe that one a little bit. Also, there's like this red kind of line, and I think it's like a safety thing or something. I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever seen a red line for a bridge, but you can kind of see it like that, so I'm going to add that in there just because it's there. Take a darker color once again, and just add some shadow underneath here like this. And I might add just a little bit of lines on the edge. Actually, no, I'm gonna use a different brush now. I'm gonna switch to the textured brush and just pull that dark color down like that. Just don't worry about. You don't have to add the texture. You can just smear it. You just want to kind of pull it down like so. Then there's a nice reflection of the bridge in the water. Once again, make another layer underneath this one. This is where I like to work with layers. Sometimes I don't like to work with layers at all, other times I do, and this is one of those times. I'm going to take this blue color but make it a lot darker, and that's going to be the shadow underneath the bridge as it's going into the water. But we're going to pull in the lighter part as well, but for now I just want the dark part. Remember, you think in layers. So try to think in layers. You're overlapping different stuff, different layers. I need to go back to this layer here and erase this. I don't like that. That doesn't need to be there. Kind of pull. Alright, now I'm going to go back to that layer and I'm going to take an even darker version of this. And I'm just debating what brush I should do this with. I guess I'll try the mountain brush again. Just kind of pull it dark and then pull this straight down like this. This is like the reflection across, and pull it straight down like that. cross, straight down, cross, straight down. Like so. Take our awesome blender brush and we're going to make it small. We're going to blend all this edge out right here. Just kind of follow that shape. And then horizontally, we're going to blend it horizontally now. Because remember, water, reflections, and everything is horizontal. So we're going to blend all that back horizontal like so. And just to show like some texture or detail, we're going to take our... First I'm going to try the vertical brush. And sometimes I don't know if what I'm thinking is going to work. So I'll like just try it like that and go, oh, that either works or it doesn't. In this case, I think it kind of works. So I'm just kind of put a little bit more on that side. I kind of grabbed the bridge right there. I didn't mean to do that. Come on, got to very lightly touch with this brush. Something like that looks good. Now I need to blend back, behind all that there. And I think I might be able to do it on this layer here. I'm going to pull the color of the water and stuff down in between each pillar. That's how it looks in the thing. Just debating on what brush I want to use for this. I'm going to use, let's try the sky brush for this. Just grab this color and just pull straight down. And actually I do have to go here because I did paint some stuff over that layer. Like that, and just pull it straight down. And then once again, either the awesome blender brush, I think, will go back horizontally over this. Just kind of blend some of that in, and that looks good. And what I might do lastly is come back with the textured brush, take this darker color. I just want to, oops, that's not dark enough. There we go. I just want to add some structure back into these pillars here to show where they are. Maybe even take the mountain brush and you kind of just, you want to come back and add some more shape to those, because some of it's been kind of lost. Sometimes it just smears too much, smaller. There we go. Now I can kind of smear that a little bit. There we go. I'm just kind of adding little hard lines and kind of smearing them out. That's a little too much. Never mind. I don't like that. I'm going to go back to this brush here. Sometimes it's just, this is my dirt brush, but you can use it for a lot of different things. There we go. Okay, that looks much better. Cool. Finally, let's go ahead and start adding all the trees and stuff to this nice, cool, all the trees and stuff that come over this way at an angle. I'm debating also how far I want to push those trees and bushes. Let's make a rock formation right here because it is in there, so I kind of want to add that. I like it. It looks cool. So we'll start with our mountain brush, and I'm going to use this really kind of bluish color that kind of shows up. It's kind of a saturated blue dark color here. And we're going to make the shape come straight down like it does in the picture. I'm going to go right over that with this. There we go, and it kind of comes along like this and like that, and it kind of gets covered. So we're just going to kind of make it like this. It gets covered by some trees, so that's fine. Then we're going to take our textured mountain brush, and it's kind of a very desaturated color like this, and just boom, just kind of pull it right over like this. Bam. And that's going to add this kind of rocky texture. Then we can come back into that with either the mountain brush or something else, and you can kind of add some shapes, back into this, kind of break it up like that, just some rock shapes, something like that. Like I said, it's far in the distance, so it's like kind of hard to tell what it is, and that's fine. You just want to kind of represent the shapes. I'm purposely kind of smearing these colors together right here to kind of add that right there. Okay, now for the base, it's more like a dark kind of green. And this one I'm going to use for my base. I'm gonna start with my bush tool here, my bush number 4, and we're just going to kind of add this dark base along here. It comes all the way up here, kind of covers some of that, and it comes all the way down like this. And you can kind of see that kind of represents trees right there. If you want it, to be dark in here, you can add some of that dark in there. It actually covers some of this road, so I'm going to just go like that. And then over here, there's some dark green, but there's some other colors here too, and I don't want to override too much of that. And just right along the edge here, there's kind of a green tree right here, we'll kind of start to paint that. So something like that. Now this really nice, like almost red, fuchsia kind of beautiful color. It's kind of nice fall color. Comes in here, and it's like right here. Boom. Actually, it might be more red. Yeah, there we go. And it kind of overlaps some of that. There's some of it up here as well. And you can just do bushes like this if you want to make it quick and be done with it after just adding some of these colors. Or you can come back in and add some more tree-like shapes. So we can use, for example, our vertical brush here, the vertical tree brush. And I'm going to take this shape, I'm just kind of pulled up like that. Actually, we're going to use the pine tree one, the one that we can turn. Actually, is this one the one I want? This is one you could use. This had some nice texture. You can kind of just, push it out, kind of create that tree shape right there. And it kind of has some limbs out here like this and like this. That's kind of a cool tree. You can also use my one here where I can turn it around. And we can add some, more detailed shapes by just kind of touching some of the edges here. Like that. There you go. Up the center here. And voila. If you want, you can add some texture to that. So a couple different ways we can do that. One, we can take our detailed brush here, and it's kind of a greenish yellow, so we're going to come up here, kind of a greenish yellow, and then make it kind of dirty by going desaturated. And you can just add a few details of, like that, and then we can come back in with that same brush. Yeah. And just kind of add some, texture right here. Take that dark color and go right back over those, just to kind of add the texture. And there you go. Now we got like a little green tree out there. There's a bunch of other different colored trees, and again, we can do that with like a bush. We can start drawing some branches. So let's do that. Take this, our mountain. That's why I usually do my talk, Neil. My mountain kind of shapes, or oh my God, my tree trunks. I usually do with this here, because it adds kind of like, see that texture it kind of adds to it. It's kind of cool. And this tree here, it kind of has some, branches kind of come off like just straight like this. I'm gonna just kind of, some of them kind of dip down like this. I just want to represent a few of those branches. Most of it is going to be, done with the actual brush, branches, or not branches, but leaves, whatever. We'll make another one here. I never actually thought about doing them that way, but it looks kind of cool. I'm just going to add a few little ones right there. Maybe there's another one here. That one's not going to have any. Wow, is that dog still barking? What a crazy guy. It's kind of, I think it's abuse, honestly. Because it just sits there and barks all day. It's like, obviously it's unhappy. I'm just adding a few little twigs here and there. Then we're going to come back and add, I'm going to add these trees. Actually, I'm going to add these trees first. We're going to cover those trees. So these are more background trees. So we're going to do our typical Bob Ross pine tree for these. And I like using this one here so I can kind of curve as I come down. Make it smaller. We'll kind of start with this kind of dark green, maybe a little bit darker. And come up here at an angle, almost straight down, and kind of first go straight up and down, and then kind of angle and start kind of pushing like this. Same thing on this side. And just kind of push like that. And then push this way. Like that. And And there we go. So just kind of back and forth a couple times. I need to flip this brush around again. It's the wrong way. There we go. I want it facing down. Nice. I want my texture facing downwards. Then I'm going to come in here and add a few horizontal ones and then come this way. Usually I do the vertical ones first, or the horizontal ones. Like, actually they're both horizontal. I guess I like doing the, they're slightly at an angle, like facing down like that, you know. I'll just call it the outer branches. I like doing these outer branches first, usually is how I do it. And then after adding these outer branches, make it a little bit bigger, I then come in and I add these center ones by just going like this and overlapping it. Okay, for some reason it's not allowing me to just push. It keeps trying to create that little... There we go, that's about what I want. And then to add a little bit of texture and color, we'll go toward green here. And then we're going to go more toward yellow-green. Just add a little bit of texture here and there. And if you want detail on how I do all these techniques, like I said, that's what my course is for. I go through quite detail everything I'm doing step by step. I talk about how to do the technique, you know, how to hold the, how to handle the brush, how to press it to get that shape like that, you know, and then how to do the tree by coming back and forth like a seesaw like this, and then come back in adding some shapes on the edges. So I talk about how to control the brushes and all that, the pressure to use and everything in my course. So for those that already have that kind of knowledge, this lesson here, this kind of live painting is more, well, not live, but you know, whatever, real-time painting, is just to show like how you can take those same techniques and what I'm thinking in my mind and how to use them to make a more grand, bigger painting. Now I'm going to kind of use this kind of yellowish red tone because the sun is going to be shining through these branches, and I'm going to come down really dark on this side over here and come down really, really dark like so. And this is where I'm going to add this. Remember, this is like not the top of the tree, so I'm just going to add some branches here and there. And this is a much more bare tree. I actually want some of these hard branches to show through that I did there, like that. So I'm going to leave some of those on there. That is those stick branches. I want those to kind of be visible. I never actually tried painting a tree like this, but this is how I'm going to represent it. It's to represent what I'm seeing in the photo, but with, you know, these techniques, impressionistic techniques. This tree actually comes in front of this one, so I'm actually going to represent that as well. Come down, and then some of these are going to be lost inside of here. And that might be all you need for that tree, honestly, to represent it. Maybe come up like this and just add a few highlights here and there where the sun is kind of popping through and it's kind of hitting some of those leaves like it does in the photograph. And if you want, you can probably even make this even more, but what I like to do is whenever I have something like that, I like to take my awesome brush usually, just I feel like the edges are too hard, and I like to kind of just lightly touch some of the edges here and there. Ooh, that's too much. Just lightly, especially in the middle here. And it just kind of adds a little bit, you know, feel like it fits in there, like a little bit of movement. Now what we could do, I'm kind of curious if this will work. Come up here. Let's go back. I never tried this before. Let's try it. Take that same brush. There we go. Let's take our normal mode. Let's take it to color dodge. What if I just kind of touch? Oh, look at that. Wow. You gotta just so lightly touch it, because otherwise it kind of overpowers, as you can see there. What if we try something else? Let's try just still add too much. Let's see here. Oh yeah, that's way. If you really want some nice, actually, if you kind of lightly touch it, that works pretty good. Let me see. That one's nice too. Let's try one more that's a little more subtle, like overlay. Oh, there we go. Look at that. See? That is nice. That's what I'm seeing in the that's the color I'm seeing in the photograph here. Really nice. Beautiful, right? And the edges there. I'm just kind of tapping it You know, I'm kind of tapping and pushing in a direction a little bit. Oh, look at that. Just kind of overlap that a little bit. And that is beautiful. Maybe up here. That looks nice. I might add just a little bit more. Let's go back to normal. Actually, you know what if I go to color dodge or add, but I change this to a really dark color. If I kind of, yeah, see, as you keep adding it, it just blows up like that. I'm just curious here, hold on. What if I paint with this one? There we go, that's nice. So it still kind of comes out dark. Come on, program. So in this case, on color dodge, it'll, if you pick a dark color, why is it not painting right? You know, I like everything here, so I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to merge all my layers down. Oh, see, now it's just kind of, even though it's a dark color, it's doing that. That's what I thought was going to happen. That's fine. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and go back to normal. I just want to add a few more little pieces here and there coming off of the main tree here because I feel like it's just too bare. I have a few overlapping branches. They kind of come down and then kind of come up like that. That's nice. And then I'll go back to overlay because I really liked how that looked. Just add a few. I only want to touch it like once or twice because otherwise it gets too much. Builds up too much color. Something like that. And then maybe go back with that color dodge just on the very edge there, maybe. That's still too much. If you do it on the darker, when it hits the sky though, it's like, wow, that's just some little parts peeking through look nice. You gotta just lightly touch it. Like just the edge, there we go. Like just lightly touch some of these lighter edges. And it looks nice, looks like the sun's just hitting them really good. Cool. So we're about an hour into this and it's looking pretty sweet. Everything else I think I'm just going to use the bush brushes just to make this go by faster. And from here it's all about just add different colors. So I already have the green base there. I don't want to totally destroy that. I want to leave some of that there. But I want to add some of this kind of yellow they have and then some of this just color here. So I'm going to try to take maybe a color like this orange here. And we're just going to add a few bushes here and there that have this shape like that. There's one down here. Almost like we're creating like little bush trees. And I want to add a little bit of this orange into this as well. So it kind of works together. Looks nice. Maybe add a little bit of orange here, some over here, a little bit back there. Take that same kind of nice color here, add it together. There we go. Nice, nice. Love it. Some up here. And down here is more orange, so I'm going to kind of just go with that more orange color down here. And then also up here it's kind of like a, almost like a green, kind of off yellow, kind of like that. Like I said, the main thing I wanted to recreate was the colors, because the colors is really nice. And when I do impressionistic work, to me the most important thing is the colors. And the reason why is because, I don't know why actually. Not sure why I even said the reason why is because I honestly I don't really know the reason. It's just one of those things. I like playing with colors. It's, you know, every artist is different and like different things fancy, and you like to play different things. I like to, I want to mess around with color. It's just nice. Add a little bit of green there, some green over here. Most of the green in this is really dark, but I just want to add a few little highlights of green. Might want to do this couple trees down here. I'm debating whether I want to do like this kind of more puffball tree like this, where you can see just a little bit of the, or if I was going to do another, yeah, I'm going to do a puffball tree. The other kind of tree I was thinking about was the kind of tree I did over here, or just like this kind of tree that's now covered back there. There we go. I'm going to add some of this texture. This is my texture detail brush now. I love fuchsia. I want to add just a few little fuchsia highlights in here, where light is kind of hitting and dancing, and I want that really nice, bright orange here. Just a few little spots where it shows up like that. Why is it doing that? It's irritating me. You know what? Hold on a second. I think I know why it's doing that. I think when I use this software, so with Photoshop you have to have this checked, but with Paintstorm I feel like it works better without that checked. Now if I, yeah, see, now it's not going to do that because I think it's trying to compete with the software, and then with the windows it's trying to like pull up a window or something when you touch it, and it makes that little circle come up and it really interrupts what you're trying to do. So that's how you turn that off in Paintstorm. In Photoshop there's a different trick you have to do to turn that off. You have to go to like certain settings and turn it off. I'm going to add a little bit of this color right here that I have setting over here on my palette. It's actually a default color, so if you have the default palette, that's the color that's right there. And that's pretty nice. I don't see the, where did I put it? There it is. Just trying to look at the painting now to get some of these different colors that, and it actually has this really nice orange like this maybe. Oh yeah, it blends into that, and then it blends into this nice yellow. That looks nice back there. Maybe a little speck right here where the light's hitting it. Yeah, and then finally, as a final touch, you can just take the mountain brush, put on small, grab this really dark color or just almost like a black color, and just kind of add a few little branches, maybe make it smaller than that, and just kind of, I'm going to kind of go back over that and kind of smear it a little bit. There we go. And just kind of show here and there kind of where different trees exist. Just to kind of break this up so it has some more dimension to it, so it doesn't look like it's all just a bunch of overlapping colors and puffballs. You know, you can add these kind of shapes in here like that, kind of recreate this tree again, connect some of that, maybe add some branches back into this one. You can also just add some, you know, some dead branches that just happen to, I don't like doing that ever. I don't ever like it look like, I don't like ever doing this where it looks like a chicken foot, you know, or it's like you have a pitchfork shape like that. Like, I never like to do that. It just doesn't look good. I always like to branch off, you know, with just twos. Or if you want to do anything similar to a chicken foot, it would be like that where it branches off, and then right off here you can branch off again like that. So you have, but it's not like, you know, I hope that makes sense. There's no rules in painting. I'm not trying to give rules. I'm just, this is what I don't like. So I don't like the way it looks. It looks weird, so I avoid it. So I'm just trying to see like where are the trees at in here? Where are the branches? I'm just trying to see kind of like where they exist. That, you know, back here maybe a couple, and you can also maybe have another branch way back here in the background like that. It's kind of sticking up for no reason because that's what nature does. And there you go. I really like this. This came out really nice. It's a cool representation. I love fuchsia, so I sign in fuchsia. And 09. One thing I didn't do is back here, so let's go ahead and do that really quick. You can sign and still keep working. That's not like the final say so. It's not like, oh, I'm definitely done because I signed my name. let's add a few of these. There we go, just like that. Just some stuff way back there that's kind of covering the bridge as it goes off into the distance and just kind of gets covered. I'm going to just kind of cover all of that right there. There we go. This just gets covered as it goes back into the trees. We can't see it, it disappears. And there you have it. I think that's it. I think that might call it good. One other thing I might do is I might take my textured knife, take some of this color here. I'm just kind of curious what this might. Oh, that's like way too much. Hold on. What if I just add a little bit of that color? I'm just trying to, like, what if it's kind of sparkling on the. No. Maybe that little bit like that. Just a little bit like that. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to go back to my mountain brush again. Grab that bright color. And I want to reintroduce these lines. I kind of lost them. Just want that. I want it to, make it clear that that is a road going back that way. And then they can have the solid line right here. That one's being broken up. The turnoff is like completely covered. I'm going to kind of blend some of that out right there. Maybe add some texture. That's all been covered too for the most part. And some of this here, I'm going to kind of just break that up, and that line was too long. This is where I just go through and I just kind of see things I don't like or I like, de-emphasize the stuff I don't like. I feel like that branch should be a little bit thicker in parts, so I'm going to just kind of thicken it up like that. Maybe a little bit thicker. Okay, so now let's look at the photo it's based on. So there's a photo. I'm not trying to recreate a photo because the photo already exists, right? I want to create a painting, a piece of art, but also I want to have fun painting, and I really love impressionistic style or painterly style or the Bob Ross style. I love that. I love like Minot and stuff like that. Just even getting more abstract with, like, you can use like abstract brushes and just get more abstract with what you're doing. Maybe I'll do one of those next. Maybe I'll take a photo and paint it, but paint an abstract kind of version or abstraction of it. Not totally abstract, but use abstract brushes with impressionistic techniques. It's kind of an interesting thing that I don't know if anyone really does that, but like there's a style out there for that, but it's something I do sometimes and I like it. So cool, there you have it. I really like how the colors came out. That's the most important part, were the colors. So hope you enjoyed this. You can use the Bob Ross brushes to bring photos to life like that. That's really awesome. Alright, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. It only takes you a second. Smash that like button. That's all you got to do. Why am I looking over here? I should be looking over here. Smash the like button. That's all you got to do, and you help support this channel. It really helps a lot. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.